Grand Canyon's been a team that we've been trying to get on the schedule for a while, and both schools have been trying to line it up. I think it's a really good matchup for us. I think it's going to be a really testing travel trip to start with, but we're always excited to play new teams. And Grand Canyon have been in really good form the last few years, and we're excited to take that one on. Part of the bigger trip, and University of Arizona will be on the Sunday. And we faced the University of Arizona a number of times, and it's always a really good game. I remember as far back as 2008 when a very young Mar Rodriguez skipped through their back line to score a goal that won us the game at Arizona. And that was a big pivotal game for us in a number of ways, but we're really looking forward to that trip. We're gonna come back to California. We're gonna head down to the University of San Diego, and again another coach that's been there for a relatively short period of time and has changed the personality of that team, and they're finding their identity quickly, and it's going to be another good game. So some games on the road there to really get the season going. Well, first of all, just as a standalone game, to have the University of Washington come here for our regular season home opener, I think is fantastic for our team. It's a credit to PJ, all the scheduling work that he's done to line that up. We're hoping to have a lot of alumni and supporters, and I think it'll be a great crowd that day. It's before most high school players go back to school, so it should be an opportunity for there to be a lot of eyes on that game and for everybody to enjoy the spectacle of it. Yeah, Northern California is an obvious place for us to take a trip to. So many good teams up there. Happens to be Sac State, and that will give us a nice preview of a team that are going to be joining the Big West in a year from now. So that's kind of a nice piece to the puzzle. But again, an NCAA tournament level team, and we'll enjoy that one for sure. Can't wait. And USF, and we've had back and forth battles with USF. It was a tight game with them the last few games that we've played. It's a difficult place to play. They create a very difficult atmosphere, and we're going to have to get used to the artificial surface there. And hopefully we get to grips with that piece early. But yeah, a nice trip, a nice relatively short trip. We'll get up and back pretty quick. First of all, it's nice to have 3 home games in that stretch, because travel does take it out of you, and if there's too much back-to-back travel, that can really lead to some cumulative fatigue in the team. So we get back home, and Northern Arizona is going to be a challenging game. I remember playing them very, very early in my career. Being at home, I think our team are going to really start to revel in that Antietam Stadium environment. Following Northern Arizona, we've got Santa Clara coming here, and Santa Clara is a team who has been. We faced Santa Clara a number of times in my coaching career. And I love playing Santa Clara for so many different reasons. It's an extremely competitive game. They're a high-level team, and they're one of the most sophisticated teams that we play. But more than that, they're a team that are very difficult. You can think that you've scouted them, and you think you know what you're going to face, and you might have a very deliberate, intentional game plan to try and neutralize the things that they do well and try and find a couple of gaps. And it might play out like that for 5-10 minutes, and then they change, and then they have a way of changing their formation, changing their shape. Key players will move to different parts of the field, and we've got to be ready for that. And that's probably what's tripped us up most in the last few meetings that we've had. So our ability to match a team that's going to change a shape and change the way they play based on the time of the game, based on the things that we're doing, based on the rhythm and tempo. And I'm really excited for that challenge. Their coaching staff has been together. It's the only coaching staff that have been together longer than us in California, at least. And playing against that type of experience and knowledge is something that we'll relish. And if we approach it right, we've got a great chance to get a result. But regardless, we're gonna learn a lot about ourselves, and we'll all grow a lot in that game. Following that game, it doesn't get any easier. Then you've got Washington State, and the contrast between Santa Clara and Washington State is huge. The style of those teams is very, very different. The types of players that they recruit are very, very different. And we'll remember a game just 12 months before that we were up in Pullman and took on a really difficult travel game to go play there. and we gave a really good account of ourselves, and came close to coming out of that game with a victory. To be disappointed that you don't get a victory at a place like that is a good place to be. We're excited. We're excited for that challenge, and you know, I'm interested to see how playing at home in Antietam Stadium might shift some of the dynamics of that game in our favour. Hopefully they do. But that'll be our final game before the Big West Conference. Four teams that we open conference with three new head coaches to the conference, and Gina at CSUN, I think this is her second season, so there's a lot of tons of experience. This is the interesting thing, tons of experience in and among those coaches, although relatively new to the conference. And I think that start against Riverside, and we've you know, Mike has been around this area, and I know he's kept around some of the staff that they've had prior, so the knowledge of the conference is still going to be there. I think that was smart of him to do. The Big West Conference is often overlooked, and there's a lot of nuances to the teams, and having that knowledge, I think, is going to set Riverside up in a really good way. And we'll be really zeroed into some of the new players that they're bringing in there. In game 2 of the conference, we're at CSUN, and it's a very difficult place to play. They've usually got a crowd that really set the tone, and we're gonna have to be ready for that one. Again, it was another challenging game against them last season, very, very difficult game, and you know, again, another team that's really building an identity with Gina over there. Then we're on the road at Bakersfield, and we've had some cracking games against Bakersfield in the last few years, but with a new head coach, you just don't know what to expect. And Whitney's going to do great there. I think she's got a personality that's going to bring her personality onto the field pretty quickly. And we're going to have to watch some of their early season games to really figure out what they're going to be like, because new head coach, new personality, new style, and we'll have to be ready for that one. And then Davis, who have had a couple of back-to-back exceptional years. I know they've got a really, really good squad. They've brought in a lot of new players into that. And Kat is an extremely experienced coach, and she'll have a style of play by then, and someone else we're going to have to really look at how they've changed between last year and this year. So that's going to be fascinating for teams there with relatively new coaching staffs. Mauricio and I have coached against each other for almost, you know, we're closing in on 2 decades of playing against each other. We'll both have a game plan. We'll both have to change that game plan as the game evolves. That's always a fun part about playing against Long Beach. You're at Long Beach, so that's they've always got a good atmosphere there. So that'll be one that the team always looks forward to. There's something different. It's one of those games that sort of is standalone there. We do have a week off in the middle of Big West, and while that can be really helpful, depending on, you might be able to work through some injuries, bring a little bit of energy back to the team. You also lose your rhythm a little bit, your competitive rhythm. So there's pros and cons of having that break. Right after that is Santa Barbara and Cal Poly, both here. Both familiar head coaches, one just with different colours on this year. Bernardo having moved from Bakersfield to Cal Poly. For those reasons, it's going to be a fascinating matchup. And Paul's been at Santa Barbara longer than I've been here, which tells you how successful he's been over a career. But that could be, it's likely that weekend is going to start to define where your final position, the range of final positions is likely to be. That's the stage of the season where you start to realize, okay, we're going to finish between this number and this number, and that will be season defining, those 2 games. So the penultimate week being Fullerton and UC San Diego, you see it doesn't get any easier. This conference is packed with extremely competitive teams. Leaves us just with the one final game in that final weekend when we travel to Hawaii. which sounds like a vacation, but never is completely. We'd love to have everything wrapped up by then, wouldn't that be nice? But that's unlikely given the history of our conference, and no doubt we're gonna have to arrive in Hawaii ready for a really competitive game and to close out the season. And you just don't know. We might be returning back. We might be playing in Hawaii on a Thursday and having to come back and play a quarterfinal game on the Sunday. So it doesn't get any easier. We'll be striving to make sure that we finish high enough that we don't have to play a game that Sunday. That would be ideal. But if we do, we'll have to be travel warriors enough to figure out how to do it. Yes, it's certainly not lost on me that statistically a lot of the goal scoring and creative influence that we've had on the team has graduated. We couldn't be happier for them. There's multiple players from that group that have signed professional contracts since they left, and we couldn't be more excited about that. While we're going to be relatively inexperienced in terms of number of games played or minutes played in a career, there's some terrific, exciting players, attacking players that we're going to be able to throw together out there. I think that Clara Sampson coming into her second season, she's going to have the advantage of knowing exactly what American college soccer is like this year. I think we know her well enough as a player now that we're going to be able to play to every one of her strengths. During the spring, the twins, Mia and Ella, really took some big strides forward, certainly in terms of their confidence to get on the ball and confidence to go to goal. And I think they're going to be really difficult to deal with, particularly when they start to vibe together. Those two can be phenomenal. Ariane is a transfer from the University of Oregon that's going to come in as an out-and-out striker and someone with a physical presence that's going to be able to bring a little bit of something different to our team. And I think the blend of those players, they're all somewhat hybrid, can play in different ways. I think they're going to be really exciting at the front of our team. Chifumi is a fascinating player. Her and I connected in the recruiting process, and through some really good video, it was clear to us that she had some special talents, not just technically in terms of her ability to use the ball, but her nuanced movement and her understanding of the game around her is something that is really different, and it's fun to work with. It's really fun to watch, and she connects a lot of the things that we're going to do in the higher parts of the field there. She's one more international player. Each of them have brought something a little different in terms of the culture into the locker room, and Chifumi's no different. Again, year 2, so she's also figured out this American college soccer. She's set up to have a really good sophomore year, in my opinion. I think in the midfield as well, we brought in a super experienced player in Trinity Morales. Technically, she can handle the ball 360 degrees. She is hyper competitive, and with the experience that she's had against the teams that she's played against over 4 years, she's going to bring a real several layers of experience that are going to work really well. She might play anywhere in our midfield, by the way, Trinity, and we're excited to have her. And she'll have a familiar face with Ariane here too, both coming from the University of Oregon. If you followed our team, you'll have seen all the history that we've built over the last few years, and in the last 2 years we graduated a lot of really big personalities. And while those big personalities were probably getting most of the headlines over the last 2-3 years, in the program were a lot of really talented, hard-working players, and they've been growing and making some impact on the field. Mariah Villapando is a great example of that. She's relentless in the way that she trains, the way that she applies herself, and she's been growing in a big way. And this year, some of those big personalities not being here, Mariah's gonna find herself on the field for longer durations. She's gonna challenge the start for us, for sure, no doubt about that. And I'm excited to see exactly which position she grabs onto and fits into this new Antietam team. Aislinn Crowder transferred from UCLA. Ace has had quite a long break getting an injury right, and we don't know exactly when she's going to be available to us. It'll happen sometime during the season. Can't wait for her to be available. She's a unique player. She's got a unique skill set. She has an ability to calm the game down and use her range of passing to make the game really big for an opponent to have to defend. She's unique. They broke the mold when they made Aislinn Crowder for sure, but I'd be very surprised if we don't see her sometime during the season this year. Kelsey Sweeney's another one. It's a long-term injury, and I can be as excited as anyone about Kelsey coming back. She came and played a small role for us in the spring. She played 7 minutes in one game and scored a goal. That was a moment. So she's back. Although there's still a little bit more work to do physically to be ready, but she's a fantastically exciting player. When we get her 100% right, that's going to be wonderful. Gracie Haley is someone who started a game, I think, as a freshman against Fullerton in her first season. So we know that she's talented enough to play on this team. There's been a lot of senior players that have played in front of her, but behind the scenes, Gracie's been working every day, and she'll be ready if she gets that opportunity. And this is her final year, so she should be coming with a lot of confidence in terms of her understanding of what's required and be ready whenever she's called upon.
Hello, I'm Danielle de Seriere. I am assistant coach of the women's soccer team at UC Irvine, and I also work with the Goalkeepers. I am really excited for this upcoming season. Savannah Aruda and Lauren Ziller have been very fortunate to have keepers ahead of them that have had a lot of playing experience, but also have been good mentors. Lauren Ziller, Scott and I saw her perform at a tournament, and we're both like, whoa, who's that? And then I think on our drive home, I was like, I think that person emailed me like just days ago about wanting to come to UCI, and then we got quickly into contact. And we kind of share this Dutch Indo heritage with each other, so that's kind of fun. And then Savannah was someone that popped up out of nowhere at one of our goalkeeper camps, and I think really surprised Ludo and I with just her coachability, being able to apply the things that we wanted her to do, and just brought a lot of maturity to that group. And then you have Camila Jones, who's coming in as a freshman, someone that not many people maybe knew about, but I think she's gonna grow and develop in the next 4 years as potentially someone that is gonna be a standout goalkeeper, hopefully, for us. As a group, it's become a pretty special group to work with. I'm looking forward to bringing Camila into the mix. But I think we just hold them to high standards, and they're not just goalkeepers, they're field players as well. So
we pride ourselves on getting in people's faces and making sure that they're not comfortable at any phase of the game. So whether they're taking a goal kick or they're deep in our box, they shouldn't feel comfortable. There are players that came in as a forward, came in as a winger, came in as an attacking midfielder, playing outside back, filling in as a center back. And we've had a lot of success with players that are more comfortable earlier in their career, higher up the field, and end up being just rock star defenders for us. We've got a couple that have transitioned into that position, with Corey Piquel. She was an attacking, creative midfielder when she came in, and she's expected to do big things as an outside back for us. She'll probably get up the field a little bit as well, but yeah, she'll do some very good things for us defensively. We've got Soos de Bakker, one of our captains. She was a winger in Amsterdam, loved to get up the field, loved to serve a great quality ball. When we recruited her, we weren't seeing her to block shots and crosses and just lock up their best winger. And she's turned into that player for us in that spot there. So, and then we've got some traditional defenders that do a great job. We've got Haley Klingen and Mihaela, who've played center back. More than I've coached it, they've played it probably. So then you look at someone like an Ivy, where Ivy is, and I don't say this lightly, she is probably the most intense defensive player. She's in there with the Maddie Chavez's they're just special athletes. I've coached maybe 3 or 4 in my time. Ivy's one of them. There isn't a ball that she sees on the field that she doesn't think that she's gonna win. And 99% of the time she is going to win that ball. You find that balance of players that stick to the DNA, players that have some offensive qualities to them, that learn the game really well, and you can do some special things. And then sometimes it's not pretty. You just have to be willing to do ugly stuff to keep the ball out of the net. And I think everybody's committed to that.